Ask Tom on Home Show.
Fred from Southwest Houston needs a few construction tips.
Yeah, he's building this pier and beam home here, Tom, in Meyerland.
Beautiful.
And, yeah, Fred.
Like
yeah, that is an impressive piece of work he's got going on there.
I built a lot of those. I loved it. I built the first one in West University a long time ago.
Fred writes, my question is about moisture. He says, we will have drainage in place and they should be sloping the dirt to the drains, and I still see possible pools of water that could happen. The builder seems to think that with the perimeter built around the home, there shouldn't be any water getting in there. I'm not so sure. Should we, 1, put down plastic sheeting? 2, should we fill in with rocks? And 3, if we fill with rocks, should we have a weed guard laid down first? Or will that cause more moisture? I assume we'd want the ground sloping with no way for pools of water to form.
This is a great question. There's so many things I want to hit on this, so I'm going to try to do it very methodically and concise because we only have so much time. Number 1, no plastic. That doesn't work in the Houston area. You never put plastic down. Now let's move to the weed guard quickly. Weed guard, there's no weeds that are going to grow under a house. There's no sunshine. So weed guard, you're not going to grow weeds under a house. It's impossible. The world doesn't work that way. But weed guards, people say they put it under stone all the time, right? And then they put stone around their flower beds on the outside. It doesn't stop the weeds. Weeds don't grow up from underneath the ground where there's no sunlight. What that does is it keeps the rocks from squishing down into the mud, and all of a sudden you have mud with rocks down underneath. So it creates a barrier. That's why weed block is used underneath rocks for drainage systems, for landscaping, but not underneath the house. Underneath that house, water will get under there. And you want it to be clean and dry, not only, just because if you go under there, it's clean and dry, but you don't want all that moisture building up. And hopefully it's vented and they're venting it properly. That wasn't part of the question, to get the moisture out of there. But what you do is you put in bank sand. When it's all done, before you lose access to underneath there, you go ahead and you have bank sand brought in and you rake it out real nice and neat. And when the project's done, you have someone go under there and rake it again. Sand is like little gravel, and it keeps all the moisture down below, and it stays real dry, just like it does when you go to the beach. It's super dry until you hit the water, right? So that's what you do underneath the house like that. And the last thing, because this is in a very close quartered area in a part of Houston that probably experienced a lot of flooding at one time, and now they're recommending that everybody build this stuff up. Your drainage has to go to the street. You can't drain to your poor neighbor who still has the little home. You can't drain to the back of a house. Everything has to drain to the street. And that means you're going to have a drainage system that doesn't puddle around your house, doesn't puddle around anywhere. The landscaping is done right. And all water on your property drains right to the street, which is our big drainage system in the Houston area. As far as floods and stuff go, that becomes not a road anymore, but a drainage ditch.
I can't tell you how many times I get calls from my mother in Utah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I see there's street flooding in Houston. Mom, that's what they're for.
That's why they're going. The water goes there.
Yeah,
that's right.
But I want to zero in on something else you said in there, Tom. You
Yes.
said bank sand. And I want to.
Bank sand.
I'd like to understand, because I see, bank sand, play sand, all kinds of sand. What makes bank sand different than other sands?
Okay, the two sands you would use. Bank sand is just an inexpensive, kind of an orange, brownish sand, and so it works real nice. It's got some body to it. And it's inexpensive. Now, if you get into sharp sand, which would be another option, that's the kind of sand you use in mixing mortar and stuff. So it's more like little gravel and not as much as like sandy dirt. So it's much more expensive. Now, you mentioned, what was the sand, the other one that you get for play boxes?
Play sand?
Yeah, the play sand, which is disinfected or whatever you said. You used the right word when you explained it. That's so kids, when they eat it and stuff, when they're in the sandbox, don't get a disease. But the cats still go in there and love it as a cat box. So be careful. When I was a kid once, I ate a bunch of cat poop out of a sandbox and I got worms. That was in Alabama many years ago when I was about that high.
Explains so much. Okay, you go.
Yes. So that's the kind of sand you would use in a box for kids to play in, because You don't want them spreading any kind of diseases, especially after this last year we had. But the bank sand is what you would use for stuff like that. You use it for fill. You can even mix it with topsoil if you need a sandy loam. So things will grow in it, but not like you're going to grow anything under your house. Nothing will grow under your house. The one thing I want you to watch out for is people tend to leave all their trash under there. They build the house. Someday you go under there and you're like, there's Coke cans, there's all this stuff. All that stuff will attract roaches and things too. So that's why I say before they give up all the access under there, they clean out their garbage, because you can see some in that picture. And then you put a nice layer of bank sand. And even at the end of the project, I would have someone crawl under there. And I've even helped them and crawled under myself when I was a younger man. And we would just kind of, on our bellies, just smooth it all out, make sure no trash was under there, and get back up out of there, brush ourselves off. We got outside, or however the access was, and leave it nice and neat for someone who has to go under there to do some work.
You want some help with the work around your house? Tom can give you advice. You click on the blue Ask Tom button. He's not coming over to do it, though. You can we send us a video. You can send us a question in writing, and we'll help you out. Or you can go ahead and include pictures, like Fred did there, and help us do a better job answering the question, not just for you, but for everybody else who watches these, because we've been doing these for years, and you'll find hundreds and hundreds of them answering a variety of questions on our YouTube channel, the Home Show Radio YouTube channel. So go and check that out too. Of course, we post a new one of these every day on that channel. We post this on our Facebook page as well, and of course at HomeShowRadio.com, where you'll find a whole bunch of other videos to help you out.